Hello, welcome. This is episode 34. I'm with Gearoid McDaid. He is just taking the world by storm. He's Ireland's number one pro surfer. I've been studying footage for him of him for months now, and his air game is just superb. He's charging the biggest waves that I've seen lately at Mullaghmore, and he's with us today. Gearoid, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Bro, so it's a snow day as I see. How's it going?
We woke up to a blanket of snow. It's not too often we get that here in Ireland. It's cold, wet, windy, and rainy all the time. But yeah, snow doesn't happen too often. So yeah, it's pretty cool. The waves aren't great, but still pretty nice getting out there, going surfing in the snow. It's kind of a bit of a novelty for us. So had a little surf and went up the mountain to try make some snowmen and stuff. So yeah, it was a bit of crack.
I saw that on your Instagram feed. Everyone needs to go follow Garage. He is just crushing it daily. So I saw the snowman and I saw a really sick air reverse you pulled. Full wetsuit. It looked cold. Like how do you do it?
Yeah, today was cold. I mean, we got a little window where the sun came out, and that was the 10 minutes I put my wetsuit on. So I got pretty lucky, and yeah, the waves were pretty bad. It was just my local little beach that we surfed today, but yeah, it was fun to get in, and I didn't have that many good waves. I surfed for probably 30 minutes and got one or two little turns, did that little air, and yeah, that was me done. I was out of there, one and done pretty much. And yeah, it's not too bad. You get used to the cold and stuff. So yeah, it's grand. Like it's what I'm used to, so it's what I like.
Well, bro, you've had a huge winter. I've seen so much footage of you just crushing Mullaghmore, paddling in. I think I saw some tow-in waves. Now, I want to talk about the wave I saw last Saturday. Are you allowed to say where that was?
Well, the one last Saturday.
Kane, you posted it from Kane Salmon from Western
Oh
Australia.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah.
had a drone, I believe, and I saw a blank wave before I saw your wave on that carousel, and I was like, man, who's surfing that? And of course, you're out there and you got a huge barrel. Um, it, what's that? Are you allowed to say what that spot was, or how was that
Yeah,
session? I
yeah,
should
yeah.
say.
Yeah, that's Riley's. Like that's in. It's not much of a secret spot nowadays. Everyone knows it. Everyone's seen it all over the internet. But yeah, it's a sick wave. It's super heavy, super shallow, and that day wasn't perfect. The tide wasn't that high, and the period was super high, so made it pretty difficult to paddle. So we started towing a couple, being my friend Connor from here too, and yeah, we kind of towed a couple, had some fun, and kind of tide was really low, and the period was super big. It ended up just shutting down and going dry quite a lot on us. So we had a couple of pretty sick visions when you're in like super thick, heavy pits. It's pretty nice just getting into them and seeing what it's like inside them. So it was a pretty fun session. And yeah, there was nobody else around. There was your man Keane was there shooting from land, and Zach from Australia paddled out for 20 minutes to try to get a couple. But yeah, there was literally nobody else around. So it was pretty epic.
Yeah, you mentioned your friend Conor McGregor. Is he your tow man, or are you guys just like charging bros?
Yeah, yeah. Well, like we both, Connor surfs super good and surfs Mullaghmore everywhere as well. And he's probably the best guy out there on the biggest days. So we'd like always surf together all around the world and every day here in Ireland. And yeah, then when it's big, we tow together, and it's pretty good having someone who's one of your good friends to be able to tow it, like, and just makes it fun and yeah, keeps it interesting.
Yeah, I saw a wave he towed. It was massive, and you've also been just pinning massive ones. Can you bring us to Mullaghmore? Tell us a little bit about the spot and how did you make your way into something so heavy?
Yeah, I guess Molly is like I don't know, it's kind of it's different to a lot of other places in the world. It's like kind of it's not really a big wave, it's a big slab. So it's like a lot of the big wave spots, it's like you're riding like they're riding like 10 O's and stuff with jaws, and just like a lot of like obviously they're still getting mad barrels and stuff, but like Mullaghmore just goes so square and so thick. It's kind of nearly like chops, but kind of has a little lead in at the start to let you in to paddle when it's big. So that's the difference, I suppose. And yeah, I guess here we have so many different slabs around the place that there's kind of stepping stones to get to surfing Mullaghmore. Like we've got like fun little playful slabs, like kind of reefs that are like turns. You get little barrels, and then you move to like another slab that's got like a little bit heavier, and then there's another one that's a little bit heavier, and then that breaks when it's bigger. And it's kind of like you have all these different stepping stones of getting out the mully. But yeah, when you think you're ready and you get out there, it's no matter what, it's scary. Like I've had the best waves of my life out there, and then the next winter after a flat summer, the first day you're out there, you're shitting yourself again. It all comes back, and it takes a couple of sessions always to get used to it. But yeah, I think it's the best wave in the world, and I think a lot of people think that when they come here too, and it keeps people coming back. But yeah, it's mental. It's really good.
Yeah, aesthetically, the side angle of that wave is just so beautiful. The green, and it's so symptomatic to your nation. And when you see a picture like that, I want to know from you, what's it like on the reverse? What's it like getting into that monster? And give us the feeling, the aesthetic of that emotion.
The emotion of being in the barrel at Molly it's pretty mental. Like you're in the barrel and you can see a photo and it looked like a perfect wave and all that, but there's so much goes on inside the barrel. You're like start off, you have to pull up high into it, and then it like kind of drops out and goes real square, and then you're at the bottom, and then you have to pull back up and come up high to like kind of squeak out of them sometimes, depending on how they break. But yeah, there's a lot of actually riding the barrel out there. Like you have to ride it as if you'd ride any 4 to 6 foot barrel. Like it's definitely a special feeling. And then when you get spat out of one into the channel, and all the jet skis and everyone on the in the channels going nuts and stuff, there's not really better than that. Like it kind of sometimes you can just go out there, get one wave, and I'm like, oh, I'm done. That one did it for me for today. Like, but you always end up you get that for about 10 minutes, and then you always want to go back out and get more.
The dopamine just is flowing. So you
Yeah.
mentioned it's like chopes in a way, and Tiapu, and I've seen your footage that you've gotten in contest. I look like at chopes, and the waves are very similar. And the when you look at them face on, they have that wrap, and they keep going down the line. How do the two compare? And when you went to chopes, were you like, you're in your boardies? So did you feel an extra level of resilience, or tell us a little bit about that?
I haven't actually been to Tahiti yet. It's somewhere that it's been on my radar quite a lot to try to get there, but I haven't been there yet. But
My
yeah, like
apologies. I must have misread the footage. It was a video. Yeah, bro.
yeah. But yeah. So I get like there's people will see whatever you surfing 20 footers at Molly and like oh that's so scary, and then I'll go to like Indo and surf like a slab, and it's like 4 foot, but like scared because I'm in boardies. I feel naked. I don't have like the protection of a wetsuit. It's mad. It's a weird feeling. Like I know a lot of people would be the other way around. They're a lot more comfortable in boardies, but for me, I'd way rather be in a 5 mil HUD boots and gloves surfing somewhere big than rather than in boardies, because all I'm thinking about is I'm gonna get smashed on the reef. I don't have the wetsuit to protect me, so it's definitely different.
So tell us about your trip to Skeleton Bay back in the summer when it was firing. We saw lots of footage from lots of people, and that was just an epic swell, covered on all accounts. But what you did in the barrel with your GoPro that I saw was just nuts. Like literally everyone can look it up. Like it was like a 3-4 minute barrel you took. Maybe there was like 6 barrels you were in and out, but like that was amazing. How did Skeleton Bay kind of, I guess, feel to you during that session?
Yeah, Namibia, it's a crazy place. Like I've been a couple of times now, and like every time you leave, it still leaves. You still want more. Like you see those waves that like you're getting those crazy, crazy, crazy long barrels, and you're like in and out, in and out, and yeah, every time I leave, I still want to go back. And yeah, this that swell. It was pretty funny actually. I was meant to be going to Indo, just a trip. I'd booked a trip there for a month in Indo, and then this swell popped up. So I just kind of changed my flight a day or two and flew to Namibia first. And the first couple of days, the bank was a bit weird, and we had like heaps of fun waves. It was pumping, but just not like that perfect top to bottom, like 3 minute rides. But and then on the last day, I was supposed to be leaving. My flight was at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, so I was like kind of rushing to get waves in the morning. I put my wetsuit on in the house and drove out the sand spit, and everyone else got there and they were like, "Oh, I think it's gonna get better later, gonna get better later." So there was like not that many people in the water, and I just paddled out like pretty much those. I only seen one other person in the lineup, like was Nathan Florence that morning. Everyone else was still on the beach, and the wind was still good. It was epic, and I caught that wave. It was my first wave, and got it right from the top of the point all the way to the bottom. Yeah, like got seven. Yeah, I got 7 barrels on it, and like it was a pretty big wave like for out there. Like it was like 6 foot out there, but yeah, I ran back up the point, and everyone was like, "Oh, it just looks like the wind's coming up," and the wind came up devil wind, then like real strong, like side, like up the point. That never really happens, and yeah, it turned out like everyone thought that was going to be the best day, and pretty much nobody surfed the whole day other than like 2 or 3 of us that morning that were the first ones out there on dark. So it was pretty it was worth the last minute rush to get one before the flight out that afternoon.
Incredible, incredible. Thank you for sharing that with us. Your small wave game is just as impressive as your big wave game. And I would like to know, how do you oscillate between the two? Because like it's so hard to do those maneuvers that you're doing. They're so innovative. But then when you go and you charge Mullaghmore, it's like a lot of guys either do one or the other, you know. Very few people on the planet do both. Tell us a bit about how that is and how you go between the two.
Cheers. Yeah, I guess grew up in small ways, being like really competitive, like doing all the competitions around the world, all the pro juniors and the like QSs and stuff. And that was my like thing from being 10 years old onwards, was just like competitive surfer, performance surfer. And I guess, yeah, it kind of just was just a natural thing of that was my main focus for so many years. And then being from Ireland, living here, you just, people are like, "Oh, come to Molly, come out for a look, we'll bring you out on the jet ski." And then they're like, "Oh, come have a look at this slab, like just paddle out," and like that. And then it kind of is just a natural progression of living here and being around the guys who are just like so focused on like the big wave stuff, that it like I just like naturally veered towards it and started going out on the bigger slabs, going out Molly for a look at once in a while, got towed into a couple on like not the biggest day when, and like just kind of got a feeling for it then. And I suppose trying to balance them is actually, it's quite difficult to be honest, because a lot of times you're like, "Oh, there's a real big swell coming, it's going to be like really good molly," and then like I could have to like go away for a contest or something, and you're like trying, kind of gutted that you're missing it, and then like trying to be there for the best days, and like trying to balance that out is quite hard. And then trying to stay on top, like on top of your small wave surfing for going away to contests, especially in winter here. Like next month, I go to Puerto Rico for the ISA Worlds, so it's like trying to stay on top of my like performance surfing, and then whenever I can now, like today I was small at the beach, pretty bad waves, and just try to go out and grind a couple out just to keep myself sharp. And then when the big days come, I suppose because you're surfing all the time, it benefits you that as well, that you're fit, you're ready, you're just, yeah, it's kind of how it goes, I suppose. But yeah, it's difficult enough to try and balance it out.
As you're getting older, is there a direction you're feeling like do you see yourself just being like after your time on the pro tour might sunset? Are you like, I'm going full into big waves? Is that kind of the trajectory of things?
Yeah, like right now, things are starting to veer more towards like free surfing, heavy waves, and that kind of thing. But it's kind of like going on trips for sponsors and all that to like chase the big heavy slabs, like cold water slabs, and it is kind of the way things are going now, which is it's what I love. But it's definitely going more that way. But then still have that like competitive side to me that wants to go do the contest and stuff. But yeah, I'm slowing down doing contests. I'm not chasing every single one that's going on anymore, or like every single QS and all that. So yeah, it's kind of picking and choosing the ones I want to do, and it kind of makes it better. It keeps it fun. It keeps you wanting to go do it rather than getting burnt out, I find. So yeah, it's keeping me on top of my game, I hope, for both sides of everything. Like keeping your performance game is going to benefit your slab surfing and all that too. So yeah, I guess I want to be able to do both all the time, and but it definitely is, things are veering a lot more towards free surfing this last year or two.
Well, all the content I've seen has just been outstanding, so I look forward to seeing more of it. You are the focusing on Tahiti for the Olympics. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's the Olympics are on in Tahiti now, and that's what I'm going to Puerto Rico for. The ISA Worlds, which is the qualifier to get into that contest. So that's kind of the main goal for the next couple of months, is to try to get there, which is good because it balances pretty well with chasing slabs and doing contests.
As a champion, how do you keep your mental fitness together? What is your routine? Do you have a structure?
My fitness, or
Let's start first with the mind, because that controls everything. How do you organize it?
it definitely is pretty difficult. Like obviously, competitive surfing, you're getting heaps of ups and downs, and it is kind of it's pretty gets pretty difficult to manage all the downs sometimes. But yeah, I guess you get a lot more downs in surfing than you get ups. So it's just learning how to balance it. And yeah, you might have 1 or 2 days that you're not feeling great, and after something goes wrong or whatever. But yeah, I guess you just kind of have to take a little break, take a step back from it, and then you're like, oh, I still love it. I miss it that much. Like a lot of time, I'll take a couple of days off just to remember like the froth and get it all back. Just so you're like, oh fuck yeah, it still is the best thing in the world to be able to go do it.
Tell us a little bit about the competition mindset and how it is that you do love competition so much. Because I'm a competitor myself in other arenas, and like there's something about it, and I would like to know from you, because a lot of people that they don't like the competition part of it, but to want to win so bad, what does that live inside you like?
uh, I don't know. It's pretty hard, like, to put a full pinpoint on what it is inside me that makes me want to win all the time. I guess my whole life I've been competitive at every single sport I've done. I've played all sports, and I've always wanted to be the best, and that and I love competing. It betters you. You're like more like, it gives you a goal to like, I want to get whatever this and this, and you set whatever with surfing. You're going and surfing with all these other guys, a small little beach, and you see all the like top guys there. That it really betters your surfing, and it like you're growing with that. But yeah, I don't. I'm just super competitive in absolutely everything. Even in like my free surfs, me and the boys will be out just having fun, and like with my even with my competing, I do just try and keep it super fun and like fun and lighthearted, but whatever. But like we'll be out on like even at Mully, me and like one of the other boys here, Noah. He knows I'm like super competitive, and like he'll like get a really good one at Mully, and he'll be like, "Oh, I'm winning the heat. I'm winning the heat. You're gonna have to back it up." And then like I'll get one, and he'll get another, and it's like there's like a back and forth all the time, and it's like it's just a healthy competition, like, and it's gonna make you better and push you in bigger stuff and all that too. And yeah, being having just keeping it fun and all that is kind of what I focus on mostly.
And how is a surfing is so artistic and there's a lot of nuance. How do you deal with, say, subjective judging? When you, for instance, you had that you got second in the European Championships. That was a very close final heat, as I understand it. Like how you and the other guy could have been number one, and how does the subjective nature of surfing, like, how do you deal with that as a competitor?
The subjectiveness of judging is definitely one of the toughest things to deal with. Like you get it in every contest, and like yeah, that one at the Europeans was a pretty tough one for me. I like obviously I didn't see his waves, but when I came out of the water, I was like, oh, I got some pretty good waves. I was pretty good. I came second, and I got out, and everyone was like, oh, there's no way that he bet you there. Like everyone on the beach was like, oh, you should have won that. You should have won that. But I guess it's human error, really. Like they're not computers. There's gonna be whatever, if it is bias, if it is personal preference, like it's all gonna come into play. And it just happens, and it happens in every heat. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. It happens on the CT. You're gonna get obviously what one person thinks is good and one thing another person's gonna see being better in another. So it's tough, and you just have to roll with it. And yeah, you can't change the judge's mind. So it's definitely hard, but yeah, it's just what happens in the sport of surfing. I don't know how it'll ever change, but yeah, it's kind of how it is.
Take us to the beginning. Your dad, as I understand it, got you on a knee board, and that was your entry board into stand up surfing. Give us your earliest recollection of surfing and how you just fell in love with it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like I did start on a knee board. My dad is like a full knee boarder. He started surfing up in Bundoran, and he's from like up there. And when he was in his 20s, and there wasn't very many people surfing there. It was, at the time there were only a few of them, but yeah, he got me into surfing, like brought us out every once or twice during the summer, like when we were whatever 5, 6, 7. You go out one day every summer, and just to kind of get a feel, get used to the water. And then I kind of remember, like, I think it was like the summer when I was like 9, I reckon, that he pushed me in one day on a wave on his knee board, and like was the first time like not riding like a green wave, like the face of a wave. I remember that. I don't know why, it was just one of those memories that still remember. And kind of from then on, it was just like, oh, I just obviously I, even as a kid, subconsciously you're like, oh, I want to go get that feeling again and again. So like just started from that day. And I think, and yeah, the next summer I went out heaps, like every day during the summer. And then that winter from when I was 10, just kept going out every weekend after school whenever it was possible. And it was just like pretty much took over my whole life of wanting to go surfing. I quit all my other sports, and yeah, for a couple of years I was still riding my dad's kneeboards. It was pretty funny. Like I was doing some junior contests riding dad's kneeboards and stuff, and they worked well. They're quite short, like 5'8", but they're super wide and super stable. So it's kind of a perfect thing to learn on when you're a kid. And then yeah, I suppose it's just continued on ever since that, and I've been lucky enough to be able to make it into a career.
Yeah. So what is the culture of Ireland as far as surfing goes? Because you from the outside, like, you have beautiful waves. It seems like there's waves everywhere, but it doesn't seem like there's like heaps and lots of people surfing. The culture seems very small and tight and close knit. Tell us a little bit about, I guess, the history of the evolution, where it is, and where do you think it's going?
Yeah, I guess like surfing in Ireland, it started back in the 60s, I think. Like even before my dad started surfing, there was a group of surfers that were, I think there was like four or five of them around the country, and then they kind of went to all the different places and like got more and more people into it, and yeah, it's obviously growing still in Ireland. It's getting bigger and bigger, and as you can see it in the lineups, they're getting busier, but it's still pretty quiet here. But for pretty good reason, I think too, because yeah, you'll see that it's like you see the photos. Oh, today was epic. Yesterday was epic. Or that one day was sick. But like you can have a month straight where it's unsurfable pretty much, where there's just like sideways rain, like the worst winds, no, like just crazy storms. And like I've had friends that have come here and they're like they've stayed for a month and haven't surfed, and like yeah, it's just like it's that kind of the way, it's that kind of place that like you could come for a week, just a random week, and score the best waves of your life, and then you could come for a month and not even surf. And I guess that's what's keeping it quiet, is because it's so hard and so fickle to score that like even a perfect chart can pop up and people are messaging me being like, oh, it's going to be pumping tomorrow, is it? I'm like, oh, maybe, like, fuck, I don't know. Like, there's a good chance it might not be. Like, even on like the most perfect chart, things can still be weird. They're like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of factors that can go wrong with the waves here. It's a weird place, like super wind affected, all this stuff, and which is good because yeah, it keeps the crowds empty. And yeah, like you said, the community is quite small. We like I pretty much know 90% of the people in the water any day. Like you'll know who they are. Like you know them, say hello to them. You might not be best friends with everybody in the water, but like you know everybody, say hello to or whatever. Even no matter where you are in the country, I can drive 4 hours south down to Cork or whatever, and meet people that I like. Oh yeah, you know, I'm like friends with this guy and friends with this guy, and like everyone knows everybody that surfs. It's pretty funny. Like it's not like anywhere else in the world like that. But yeah, I think in the next couple of years it's gonna grow again because there's a lot more juniors into it. Like when I was a kid, there was like me and maybe two or three others my age that were surfing. Like kind of in this area, in the whole country, there might have been six of us that at every contest when we were like under 14, under 16, under 18. But now there's like the junior contests are like they have to like separate, like do under 14s, under 16s one weekend, under 18s another weekend, because there's so much. It's hard to get it all done in the weekend. So yeah, it's going in the right direction, and hopefully it leads to some amazing service from Ireland, and yeah, things keep going and keep expanding here. It's pretty good.
Well, you're a great idol for the kids, and I'm sure that it's just going to be a factory coming out because the landscape just looks like it is a place of just waves on corners. So I kind of want to go there next as far as the landscape goes. What is the topography like around the island? So you talk about consistency. You're on the northwest of the island, correct? That's
Yeah,
where Strandhill Beach, Sligo.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So is that like the wave mecca, or is it all over the coast around the whole thing?
It's pretty much like anywhere from tip of the country, the whole west coast down to the south tip. You're getting there's waves everywhere. Like there's always like there's fun beach breaks, there's fun point breaks, like absolutely scattered all over the place. And like that work on different wind directions, work on different swell directions, because it's so many jagged outcrops, and like yeah, there's all weird nooks and crannies around the island. And then like there's like the east coast that even gets waves on like certain types of swells. It can be flat there for months, but like there does be waves over there sometimes, and it gets fun too. But yeah, the main zone for me anyway is like Strandhill. You've got like Bundoran 20 minutes away from me up north, Eastgate 20 minutes down south, and it's like they work different swell directions, they work different winds, so it's kind of like the main spot for consistency of waves for me. I think, yeah, this little zone that we live in.
While we're talking about landscape, what is your favorite spot to get to the beach? It seems like every spot has its own unique path to the wave, and you got to get to the wave. What spot in your mind brings you like the most pleasure to get to that wave?
I don't know if it brings me the most pleasure. It probably brings me the most pain. But the walk down to like the cliffs of Moher is one of the most beautiful walks you'll ever do. Never mind even just going down to a wave. Like it's that big right hander you see Eileen's underneath the cliffs of Moher. It's next level. Like you walk down the little goat trail down the cliff, and yeah, it's crazy. And then you paddle out around the corner of this huge sea stack down the bottom of like the biggest cliffs in Europe, and you just see this mental right hander like barreling towards you. There's not really anywhere else in the world I could imagine there's somewhere that is that picturesque and that beautiful. And yeah, that's probably up there, I reckon, with the best place you can walk down and paddle out there.
So that's a beautiful picture you paint. Now, what spot when you're in the water? I want to know from your perspective, what aesthetic do you get out there and you're just like, whoa, this is the fluid I like being in. What are those conditions like, and when are you popping off?
I don't know. There's a lot of different places that, like, I suppose the rare days that we get where you get that light offshore and there's sun and it's crisp, like you're out there, you got the sun shining on your face. There's like a little bit of heat in it, even if it is 0 degrees. The sun still gives you a little heat, and yeah, just not when the water's like not choppy. Like we can get offshore quite a lot, but it could be like howling and still choppy. But those days where it's just sunny, light offshores and nearly glassy, which yeah, you might get one or two of them a year. They're kind of the days that you live for. And yeah, when you're out there you could be looking back at some amazing landscapes like the cliffs of Moher or like lovely mountains in the far. Like it's pretty next level.
So sick, so sick. So I saw this video you did where you were given a bunch of different surfboard shapers, and you tried out all their different boards and you tried to guess who was who. And culturally, I thought that was a really beautiful thing. And the specimens that they presented you with were all so unique, and the way you surfed them was just incredible. And I'm thinking like, you know, what is the board that you get your hands on and you're just frothing over it? What does that look like?
Yeah, that video we did is pretty cool. Like we kind of took essence of what Stab do with their Stab in the dark and their like acid, whatever their thing is, the acid test. But we wanted to do like kind of just to showcase the Irish shapers that we have here. It was like a local little media company put it together, and they wanted to showcase what the Irish shapers have to offer. Because it's pretty small market that they have, they wanted to help just promote them and stuff. And yeah, it was definitely mad. Like there was some crazy boards in there that I've never surfed before, like ASIMs, like little mini like bars of soap kind of thing. And yeah, they were super fun. But like for me, trying to get into like having more fun on 20s and stuff. But for me, just as that, like my full high performance shortboard that like my shaper Christian Bradley shapes me is like, that's the thing. If I get a magic one of that, there's nothing else I'd rather go surf. Like obviously I'll go have fun on a 20 sometimes and that, but yeah, being on a thruster and just a magic thruster for me, there's nothing better. It just makes you want to go surf all the time.
Where do you like the foam in that magic thruster? How do you communicate that to your shaper? And give him one more shout out. I wanna be sure we talk about him.
Yeah, so my shaper is Christian Bradley. The Bradley surfboards, like he's Australian Tasmanian, and yeah, I started only riding for them in the last year, but it's been amazing. Like every board I've gotten from him has been like really good, and given like the back and forth of all his knowledge that he has, like he's shaped under like CI. He used to shape Slater's boards and stuff under CI years ago, and the knowledge he has, it's pretty mental. Like I'll be like, oh, this is what I feel from this one. This is what I feel from this one, and he's like, yeah, that's exactly how they're meant to go. So I reckon I'm gonna make you this, and it'll be like it'll that will suit your surfing, and it has. I found a model that I really like out of his boards, and literally every board I get, I can just pick it up and it's gonna go good. I can just jump straight on it and go for a surf, and it's gonna be good.
Stick. So I want to know this from you. When you're out in the lineup on a shortboard session, it's a high performance situation. Do you have and you're going down the line, like how do you view that moment, and how much uh interplay is going on in your head? Do you have a bag of tricks you're going for, or uh like I'm sure there's a lot of maneuvers that you're trying to learn. Are you practicing those, or are you trying to perfect those ones that you're like, I know I can land that every single time? How does your mind work on a wave like that?
Uh, I'm not sure. Sometimes you can be surfing a wave and like things just happen, and like it's just you're not even thinking of what you're gonna do on the wave. You're just like it's more just natural feel, and you're like whatever the section might pop up, and you'll do like a turn that you hadn't thought of or anything. But then like there's days where you're like, all right, if you're on like a perfect reef and you're like, okay, I know I've I've whatever I've had a couple of waves where I've done my three big turns or like two turns in an air, and then I'm like, right, now I need to start mixing it up to like try and progress my progressive surfing, I suppose, like my airs, my reverses, like tail slides, whatever, fin blows. And yeah, I guess that's just how it goes. It's like sometimes you're not thinking, and then it just happens, and the other times you're there focused on like, all right, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna sometimes I'll be getting ready for a contest. I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna just make sure every wave I do three big turns. Or today I'm gonna go out and just focus on trying to do a big air. If that's kind of what the waves are allowing, so kind of change what depending on the wave. But there definitely is always some kind of focus going in.
So you're just a reader of the wave. You're focused there. Now I want to know what the first time you landed in air. What was that? Do you remember that time? Can you bring us there? Because that, like a lot of guys, we can get up, but we can't come down. And coming down is what it's all about. So like, tell us how that happened, how it felt. How old were you? Where were you?
Yeah, I actually do fully. I was like, there was a point in my surfing where I started doing like heaps of like just like grab rail reverses off closeout sections and all that, and I like it was like my thing that I just tried on every single section was just like grab rail reverse, like. And then I was actually doing some coaching over in England when I was, well, I must have been like 11 or 12, I think, with Joe Gray over there. And it's pretty funny. I still have the video of when I do land like my first air reverse. Like I like freak out. Like it wasn't very big or it wasn't anything, but I remember just like all week, all I was doing was grab rail reverses. And in this one section, I like did a grab rail reverse, but kind of launched out as well. And yeah, it was a crazy good feeling. And even still, like every time you land in air is a pretty mental feeling. Like I'll have sessions where I won't land in air, and then but the next day you'll go out and you'll land heaps. So it's still like one of the best feelings in the world landing a big air. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, so this morning you landed a backside air reverse. I saw on your storyboard. Bring us to today's most recent session there, where you landed that. Like when you would go, for instance, when you were going down the line, were you thinking, "Oh, here we go"? Like, how did that go?
Yeah, today, like, I really like doing airs really wasn't in my head. I was literally just going out just to try and surf. Like the waves were that bad, and that little section just kind of stood up, gave a little crumble, and yeah, like I was pumping down the line. I was like, oh, I might try like a little blowtail, like see how it goes, and it ended up like popping out a little bit more than I thought, and yeah, I was stoked even on like doing that little there on a little 2 foot wave. So yeah, it was pretty cool, and it made the session. Like today, I was having a terrible surf and terrible waves, but I did that one little air, and I came back in super stoked. So it was pretty good.
Like, yeah, and I think I read your dad shot that from the cliff, or is that?
Yeah, it's dad gets out there on the handy cam all the time, shooting all those bad days at the beach in the snow and the rain. He loves it. He comes most of the time with me when I'm going surfing and shoots on the handy cam, and that's kind of where I started. I made a couple of my first little edits, all just dad's handy cams from like winters around the place. So yeah, it's pretty funny. Everyone around here loves it. Like it's pretty funny. He's pretty shaky. He doesn't have a good tripod or anything, but and he comes out with some good commentary on in the background of some of the clips. So it's pretty funny when you post them. Everyone loves it.
What a legend! That's so sick, so sick. So what's your thought on pools? Have you visited any? And how as a man of ripping of air, if you have, how was it surfing in something so consistent?
Uh, the only pool I've been to is the one in Bristol in England, and it's fun. Like we went there on a trip with Rip Curl, and when it just opened, and like at the start you're frothing. It's like such a novelty. It's cool, and we surfed. I think the first day we surfed it for 8 hours, like all the different settings and stuff. And by the end of it, I was kind of over it. Like it's sick. It's super fun, and if you live in a place where there's no waves, the best thing in the world. It allows you to go surfing and that. But it's a novelty, and obviously I've never been to Slater's wave pool or any of those ones in America because those things look next level. They look a bit more ocean like, I suppose, and give those like real good air sections or get really good like kind of bigger barrels. And yeah, I'd love to be able to go try them out and be able to compare them to the ocean. But yeah, for me, not being a wave pool expert on any of the other ones, it's a novelty. And if I lived somewhere where there was no waves, it'd be the best thing in the world. But yeah, still doesn't really compare to ocean waves.
Yeah, so the ocean is king. Uh, what is it about the ocean that you love so much? What is it about that natural space that really gets you in your soul?
I guess it kind of is the unpredictability of it. Yeah, I suppose like know what you're in for when you take off on a wave. Like some waves you take off and like it's not a hollow wave. You could still unexpectedly get a really good barrel down the line, and that's going to make you happier than anything. Like, and it's that unpredictability of it that it makes it a lot more fun. It makes it whatever. Like, obviously, the pool is good for training and that predictability of I'm going to do this turn here. I'm going to work on that turn. I'm going to do and just do it over and over and over again. But to me, it gets boring after a while. Whereas the ocean throws some mad things at you and just keeps it well, a lot more interesting and a lot more fun.
So, what are you? Are you paddling out every day for exercise, or when there's not great waves, are you finding yourself with a different physical regimen? And what is that physical regimen?
Yeah, so I do try and surf like as much as possible. Like today, today was a bit of just going in for a bit of exercise, but I do if I'm not surfing, I'm in the gym pretty much every day. I'm not surfing. Like I've only really started in the gym in the last year or so, and I you feel such a difference of how much stronger you feel, how much better it is. Like, and since that, I've grown a love for it. And yeah, pretty much if I'm not surfing, I'm in the gym doing some form of exercise.
And what kind of workouts are you doing?
Kind of like everything, really, just strengthening like your legs, your core, like your rotational stuff, like kind of like surf specific, but then it's pretty general at the same time. So like it's just strengthening, conditioning, and just making sure you're going to be strong and ready to go and be able to prevent injuries as well. I had a couple of years there where I was injured 2 winters back to back, so a lot of it is kind of preventative of being injured as well. So strengthening the right things that help, yeah, you prolong your surfing.
Yeah, you're a top level professional athlete. What's your nutrition game like? How do you focus on that?
I've in the last couple of years I've started kind of a lot more focusing on my nutrition. I used to be pretty bad at what I used to eat. Like when I was younger, I used to just shovel whatever I could get into me and like whatever fast food takeaways and stuff. But now I'm a lot more on top of it. I like I don't have like one specific diet. I like just keep it like balanced. Everything, get like your fruit and veg in a day every day. Your proteins in every day, your carbs, and just like keep it balanced. And yeah, I try and eat as healthy as possible, but like you got to enjoy yourself too. So you got to get your takeaways in every once in a while, your little cakes and all that. So yeah, it's pretty good. Just trying to find a good balance of it, really, and just making sure that it's right to give you the right amount of energy to go surfing every day, pretty much. And yeah, just focusing on that, really.
What kind of program do you have eating wise before a big session at Mullaghmore, or even a regular session where you're free surfing regular waves?
Uh, I know a lot of people that don't like eating before they go surfing. Like I know a lot of that is, but for me, I have to eat. Like if I don't eat before I go surf, I feel weak. I feel tired, and I don't know what that is, but I'll have to like eat like a proper meal, like not like a huge meal, but like whatever. If I was having breakfast, I'd have like bit of fruit, bit of porridge, and that'd be my breakfast. And or if it was lunch and I was going for a surf after lunch, I'd have like a chicken veg wrap and that, just to kind of keep you fueled, not like overly full, but just like that you have enough in you to keep you fueled for the session.
Great knowledge for everyone out there, for sure. What is the big wave that you want first that you've been to aside from Mullaghmore? Like what outside of Ireland, what's like the next spot that you've surfed where you're like, oh, that was legit?
Oh, I don't know. Like it's not like the biggest wave in the world, but there's that wave. We go to Lanzarote every year for the Kamau contest. And it's like it's pretty much as close to like surfing pipe as you'll get. Like we had it this year, and it was like 10 foot, like pumping, and it was like literally identical to what pipe would be like, but less busy and all that. It just doesn't. It's not that consistent over there. It's the winds are variable. Like it's an island in the Canaries. There's winds coming from everywhere in the middle of the Atlantic. But yeah, that's probably right now is one of my favorite waves in Europe anyway that I've been to recently, and it's proper. It's sick.
So sick. Yes, you have so much experience in that part of the world. I want to hone a little bit more on that. Aside from that spot, what are some other locations where you're like, Europe's got it going on, guys?
Yeah, like Europe is there's kind of time of year I don't see anywhere else better in the world than Europe. Like for me, everyone you see everyone going to Hawaii and all that, but like I went to Hawaii when I was 19. I don't ever really want to go back. It's just too busy and too hectic of the amount of people in the water. Like, but here in Europe, it's epic. Like it gets busy and stuff, but we've got like here, you've got Scotland. There's crazy slabs up there. You got Portugal. There's like whatever. There's Nazaré. There's loads of big crazy slabs, epic beach breaks. Down to France has some crazy beaches. Even like Spain's got perfect reefs, perfect slabs, everything. And then like we've obviously got a lot of Europe that even quieter than Ireland. That's a bit less explored. Like you've got Iceland and you've got some crazy waves in Norway and all those places that they don't get good very often, but there is some mental waves, and they're definitely some places I want to explore a bit more as well.
Where is your frontier? Where are you thinking that you need to get to on next? What's kind of your golden ball?
Oh, I don't know. There's a couple of places I have in mind I want to try. There's a couple of slabs in Portugal I've been looking at for the last couple of years. I haven't had the opportunity to go yet, just because they work on kind of similar charts that we get waves here at Molly. So there's a couple of really big left slabs down there that I want to try and get, and then yeah, some. To be honest, actually, one of the places I really want to go is New York and New Jersey. Like I seen the swell that was over there the last couple of weeks. I was like, oh, that place looks so fun. Like, and it's something different, like something so different to what we get here. That it's just that's one place I really want to go in the next year or two for a swell.
Oh, that's so sick. Yeah, I'm down here in North Carolina, so that's about
Yeah,
6-7 hours away, and um, that footage out of there was absolutely insane. You were correct. Very slabby,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, slabby on some beaches. Yeah, it was pretty sick. You guys must have had some good waves up by you then as well. If it was,
Yeah. It's been a really good winter. Yeah, I'm in Wrightsville Beach, and we have a spot called Masonboro. In fact, our like top big wave surfer from here, Mason Barnes, was with you at Mullaghmore
yeah,
a couple weeks ago, and
yeah,
he and shot a photo of him. That's kind of how you got on my mind. But yeah, Mason's our dude out here.
yeah. Mason's cool. I met him, and he was there in Lanzarote with us for that contest, and was chatting with him, and he was super nice. He like flew to Ireland directly from Lanzarote after that contest, and yeah, used one of my boards and stuff
Oh,
for
sick.
that wave. Yeah.
So you're the key to Mason getting to Mullaghmore. That's epic.
Yeah, he borrowed one of my
Respect.
boards for that one.
Yeah, everyone here is so proud of him. Like we are all just hooting. So
Yeah, it's
and
sick.
the green, so beautiful, and your waves, of course, also. So thank you for sharing the waves.
No, good. I love it when everyone comes. Like, obviously, if there's like 20 guys coming, you're like, oh, fuck, it's going to be busy. But when there's not that many guys, I love it when everyone comes. It pushes us. Like, sometimes, like, having the international guys come, it's going to push you to go bigger and get bigger ones when they're here. So it's good.
Well, they also need you to show them where to sit, where to be, like how to do it. So you're the guru. Yeah, Mason was like he said he'd been trying to get that way for so long because the guy's mental. He's everywhere. But
Yeah. He's sick. He's good.
yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see him get one there for sure.
So you kind of got my mind going north. You know, I've seen a lot of footage out of Iceland. Spencer Frost and Guy, they went up to Kamchatka, and I don't know if you saw that footage out of Russia. So it seems like people are going colder and colder. What are you hearing about where you need to go in that direction?
Yeah, exactly. I did actually watch that one that the boys did in Kamchatka. I only watched it there recently, actually last week. But yeah, then they did the one in Iceland and Scotland, and little bit of that was shot here. So I was surfing with them a little bit on that trip when they were here, which was cool. But yeah, for me, like going more north is definitely Iceland is somewhere I've been, and we didn't score it because it's super hard to get right with the winds and stuff. But we've seen some setups, and that's a place I really want to go back and try score some of the really good slabs they have. And then I've heard about a couple of waves in Norway that I've been talking to a couple of guys up there about trying to get a trip going as well. So that's kind of another place that would be super cool. And I guess, yeah, everyone's starting to go north and colder. Just places are getting too crowded for people, so they want to go find some empty waves. And yeah, going cold is a place is the way you're gonna find that.
And you know, you referred to your own spot, how the consistency, and that's really the hallmark of all these places. Speak to the idea of that, like when you decide to do something like that and go to a frontier spot, how you need to almost plant yourself there for a month or so. And what does that look like logistically for a person in your position?
Yeah, like it's pretty hard, like figure out when those places are going to be good. Like I said, like yeah, people come here last minute and it's terrible. Like, and sometimes I've done trips and like they're super last minute strike missions, and like the morning before the swell, you're like, oh, is it going to be good? Is it going to be good? Is it going to change? Like, and then we're like, all right, we'll do it. Pull the trigger, drive to the airport. That like pack that hour, drive to the airport, fly out 2 hours later, and like get there, and it's like a super rush, super last minute. And I've had trips go wrong that charts have changed again and they've gone bad. Like it's just kind of what happens, and it is quite hard to go and park up somewhere like that for a month or two. Like obviously you've got whatever commitments at home or commitments to go on other trips and all this stuff. But yeah, logistically it's pretty hard to pull triggers on swells, and there's obviously swells that you don't go on then that are epic, and it's such a hard one. It's a hard one to call always whether it's going to work out or not.
Totally, totally. And how is that feeling when you when you don't score it and you put in so much effort?
It's pretty heartbreaking when you do that. I mean, we go on. It's always fun. Like it's always like me and my friends, like whatever, Connor and our filmer Clem. Like we're always going. We're always having a good time no matter what. Like just having a crack or whatever. But obviously, you're putting a lot of money into it and effort. That when it doesn't come off, that it is a bit heartbreaking. But you still go surf, you still have fun and try and make something out of it. Even if it's not going to be what you expected, you still got to try and make something and just make it fun. Yeah, that's kind of what happens. And I guess you can't score every time, and that's what kind of makes you keep chasing it. Is that if you score it every time, you get bored of it. So if you gotta keep chasing it and hoping that you're gonna get it perfect someday.
Okay, so we went through the negative. I want to go to the extreme positive. What's the one session that goes right to your mind where you're like, "Oh, all that was so worth it, and it's so epic right now. I can't even believe I'm alive."
Uh, yeah, we've had a couple like that. Like to be honest, the most sessions I've had like that have been in Ireland, and they're like even going on some missions in Ireland, it's a mission. Like we've had like you have to drive pretty far with jet skis, and then like drive on the skis in the water for like an hour or so to get to this spot. And like yeah, we've had one or two that like I remember just the drive over on the jet ski was so cold that like my hands and like everything was just in absolute agony. And then we were like, nah, like let's just turn back. It's too much. It's too much. And we got out there, and it was like the best day ever. No one around, and scored like epic waves all day. Just me and Connor and stuff. So it was those days is what you live for. And yeah, you come back out of the water and get jet ski out of the water and get warmed up, and you're like, wow, that was the best day ever. I can't believe that just happened. So it's pretty good like that.
So in that session, how did you eventually warm up and turn your mind around and be like, okay, I got this super consequential thing I gotta go do. And like you just rise to the occasion?
Yeah, I guess like a lot of the times when you rock up on a jet ski to like these waves and like there's nobody else in the water, like we're just like, yeah, come on, we'll go try a few, like whatever. And we're having like a sick time, thinking we're getting like really good, like we're like stoked, like real stoked on the barrels and like getting spat out, and we're like frothing out. And then you get out of the water, and we one day we got out of the water, drove back to the harbor, and like the guy Clem who was filming came down to the rocks, and he was like, "Oh my god, that was the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life." And we were like, "Yeah, like it was sick, like it was super fun, like how big we were like, how big did they look?" And he was like, "They were fucking massive." Like, and we were just like, we were like, "Nah, it wasn't that big, like was it?" And that wasn't until like we went back to his house and like sat in front of the computer, like warmed up and like watched the clips, and we were like, "Holy shit, it was actually like massive." That we couldn't believe it. And like those days just like are the best days, because you're not like, you don't think it's that big, and then you're stalked anyway, and then you get the same stalk again after watching the clips, because you're like, "Holy shit, that was way bigger than I thought."
Speak to that stoke. Like what is that? What is that feeling?
Well, I don't know, it's just full happiness. Like nothing can really take it out of you. Like you're just buzzing. Like everything, it's just a full high that you get. Like whatever, even surfing or watching, like you get a full high, and like takes a while to come down from it. It's hard to go to sleep sometimes after those kind of days where you're full stoked.
So sick, so sick. So what's your position on flotation? Do you use it? And for those who might not know what I'm talking about, impact vests, like they look like they would help out a lot, but they also look like they'd be cumbersome, especially if you're paddling.
Yeah, I definitely like at Mullaghmore and stuff. I'll always have impact suit on under your wetsuits. I don't find impact suits not too hard to paddle with. It's they have no arm, like it's just a little like no arm thing, so that's all right. It's like having like a full inflation vest. Sometimes I find way too bulky on my shoulders and I can't paddle. So like if we're paddling at Mully, I usually won't wear an inflation vest. I'll just go with the impact suit, and it's having an impact suit on out of a place like Molly is super important. Like how hard you hit the water, it's mental how much they take the impact out. Like if you aren't wearing one of those suits, like you get the air knocked out of you straight away, and then you've got like the whole wipeout to deal with after. So they do save a lot of that. Like I've had a couple of mad wipeouts, and they just take all the like, you don't get that winded feeling, you don't get that kind of thing when you hit the water slaps. So they're very important. And then obviously when we're towing and it's massive, those really, really big days, I'll put an inflation vest on, like one that you can pull and inflate. So like, because you do get pushed real deep out at Mully. I've had a couple of 2 wave hold downs out there, and yeah, it is quite important on those days that you have inflation, that if things do go fully wrong, that you have that last resort to be able to shoot you back up to the surface.
What's the story on that two-wave hold down?
Uh, actually, the 2 wave hold down I had was the worst one I ever had. Was actually a paddle day at Mully, and I pulled into the barrel. Like I fell in the barrel, and it wasn't actually that wave that did it. My leash my leash plug broke out of my board, and I was just, so I had no board. And I was just like chilling there, like in the impact zone, and I looked around, and there was like this huge one behind me that someone had towed on the next wave, and I was just sitting there right on the impact of. I started swimming out to try and get through the wave to like dive under it, but I ended up in the worst spot. That the wave landed right on my head, and just pushed me so deep, and then I was swimming back up, and I was like, "Oh, I could just had that feeling." I was like, "Okay, there's gonna be, I'm not gonna get up before this next wave hits me." So this was like the third wave of the set, and I was like, "Okay, I'm not gonna do it." So I just stopped and just let myself float, and I just got to just the same energy. I just got to the top, and like my eyes were just above the water, like my mouth didn't come up, and the next wave just rolled me, and then I wasn't too bad. Like obviously 2 wave hold down isn't great, but I kind of just kept relaxed and knew that I could do it. I've obviously done like your breath holds and all that, so I just kind of chilled out and knew it was going to be all right. And then by the time that wave had rolled over me, I was kind of more in the channel, and the jet ski kind of came and got me, so it was all right. But yeah, definitely a pretty scary experience.
Gnarly, gnarly. What's your position? Excuse me. What's your position on helmets?
For sure, helmets are pretty important. I struggle to wear them. I've tried, and at those like super shallow slabs, they're important. If you hit your head off the reef, that can just kill you instantly. Like I know it's happened to a couple of guys around the world everywhere. They've smashed their heads, and it's hectic. But I don't know. I struggle with it. I find it like real heavy and like disorientating when I have a helmet on. I guess here we're pretty lucky. You have a HUD. It's not a full helmet, but there's definitely a essence of protection there. So the HUD helps, obviously, but yeah, it's definitely something that is important, and hopefully I can figure out how to wear one and not be disorientated.
Yeah, it seems like with a hood and a helmet, that would just be too much stuff to.
Yeah, you're
So
full
much,
bobblehead.
so much of the balancing is in your ears and the feeling.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it is. It's hectic.
so Rip Curl's your sponsor. Wetsuit progression just in your lifetime has gone crazy, which probably has a lot to do with how there's more people in the water in Ireland. Speak to the wetsuits that you're using right now with Rip Curl, and what are the why are they the best stuff out?
Yeah, for sure. Like this year, Rip Curl just brought out the Fusion wetsuit, and like a lot of the last couple of years, like Rip Curl, they had like their E bomb and they had their flash bomb heat seeker. Um, and I found this year with the Fusion, it's just like the best happy medium of warmth and uh and flexibility. Like they're so warm. I've been like too warm in the water out here a lot, and but you still have the freedom of feeling like you can paddle or whatever, and it's amazing. Like you can go to Canary, surf in a 3-2, and then come back and jump in a 5 mil and not feel crazy restricted or crazy slow and sluggish. So just and then be super warm. So yeah, for me, I'm super lucky that I have Rip Curl that do sponsor me, and they make what I think to be the best wetsuits for sure. It's epic.
Sick. So like kids out there, they want to be like you. They want to get sponsored. What kind of recommendations do you give to the kids who want to take the path that you've gone down as far as doing the comps, getting sponsored? What's their game plan? What does that look like?
I guess for me, even when I was younger, things have changed a lot with like the whole social media and stuff. Like when I was a kid, my thing was I was going doing comps, got some good results, and um uh was at a couple of comps that there was a couple of team managers at, and they recognized me, and like that was kind of how I got a lot of my sponsorships. And now there's a lot of emphasis on like the social media, like your Instagram and stuff. But like I think for kids is yeah, do as good as you can your contest and do your social media, but like just try and keep it as fun as possible. I think, and as long as you're keeping having it fun, all that, and you'll improve more, and those things will come, and like the sponsors will come once you're posting good sick clips on Instagram of you're having fun out there, whatever, or doing a couple good contest results. Like I think just the main thing for a lot of kids is to just make sure that they keep it fun.
Sick. And on the same note, you're the pro, you're the dude doing the action. You have to have a network of guys who are taking videos and photos. So what is your as the pro, and you have a sick Instagram page, guys, so check it out. Like what is your social media game plan? And it's almost a full-time job for you, I'm sure, as far as promoting, because you got to do it. It's part of the deal. Like how do you go about doing that, and what's your philosophy?
Yeah, like it is part of the deal now, like promotion of the brands and on that on Instagram, and I enjoy it. Like I like it. I'll try have fun with it as well. Like just post some funny stuff, and then just kind of keep the content consistent. Like this, whatever it is, even if it's like posting my dad's clips of like it might be terrible, but terrible quality and shaky, but it's funny. It keeps people interacted and that kind of stuff. And then I have like filmers that I work with, like Clem. I work with quite a lot here. He like films us heaps, and like any of the like bigger edits we've made over the last while have been filmed by him. And just kind of, it does get quite difficult trying to, when you're out at one of those sessions, you get those clips and like trying to figure out what's the best way to distribute them, what's the best way to do with them. And this year, I think we're gonna just try and make a couple of little smaller edits throughout the year of like specific swells or days or that kind of thing. And yeah, just kind of, it seems like the way it's going, people just want to see more and more consistent, and kind of not, they want to see like things nearly as they happen. So like trying to get stuff out a little bit quicker of days and stuff is kind of the main thing I'm gonna try to do this year.
Sick. So what clips, I guess, in modern times do you consume and really gets you like stoked? What is it that other people getting big waves, other people's tricks? What do you like to see?
I watch a bit of everything really. Like I'll watch, like I do, like I like Nathan Florence's YouTube and stuff. It's like it's light, it's funny, it's there's mental waves, and like that's kind of what I like watching. And like if there's a big swell coming, I'll watch guys like charging really hard and be like, oh right, yeah, like it's not hard. It's just like I just have to go do it. Like you just gotta. It's like a lot of the time it's a mental thing on big days. Like so, watching clips before big days of guys charging is kind of a good thing for me. And it's like, oh yeah, it gets you psyched up, gets you ready, and just like you're like, all right, I just gotta go do it. Like I know I can do it, so I just have to do it today.
Growing up, what was the media, the movie that really you look back on, you're like, man, that really got me good?
Uh, a lot of the movies when I was young was like the Young Guns movies. They were always super sick. What was the other one? There was Modern Collective, Stranger Than Fiction. Those like all those ones. I had them all on DVD, which like you just had them on repeat all the time. Like I really like Stranger Than Fiction. It was the one like they kind of everyone had different sections, and they had a like kind of joking in and out of like saying things were like green screen and stuff. So it kind of like was funny, but it was a sick surf clip at the same time. And I really like that. I like just how it was. Yeah, like when you're a kid, you want things to be funny and like enjoy them as well. So that was one of that really stuck with me that I had on repeat a lot.
Sick. So what is the I guess what advice do you have for for older people who want to get into big waves? I guess what say you think you can show up, but what's the starting place for someone who wants to take a bigger wave trajectory that might not be a Grom anymore?
I guess just like you see a lot of times you'll see people out at places and you're like, oh, maybe they shouldn't be there and stuff. And like, I think for me, people in big waves, I think they should be able to surf small waves too. Like, you should be like, you don't want to be out at Molly, go take a drop at like one of the other slabs down the road. I think like, I hope that doesn't piss people off. But uh, like for me, that's it. Like, Molly's so much more dangerous. Like it might be a little easier takeoff, but it's so much more dangerous. And like, I think, yeah, like you should be able to just same when you're a kid, you have your stepping stones of how to get there. So I think it should be the same. You should do the same as an adult. Like when you're older, is like build yourself up, get your training in, and just make sure you're fully ready to go out there and not get hurt, get injured or anything like that. And yeah, that you're strong enough, you're fit enough, and your ability is there. And make sure your stepping stones have been right. And that's I think that's the best way to do it. Same way as when you're a kid, really.
And when you're pushing yourself personally, what's the line that you draw between deciding to say paddle Mullaghmore or tow it? What's kind of how do you decide those two things?
it kind of depends, really. Like some days, the tide can be a factor. If the tide isn't super low, it doesn't really have the like little chip shot that you can paddle into, so that can be a factor. And if there's no chip shot and it's just all on the slab, we'll just go tow it. And then the wind can be another factor. If it's like howling windy, that makes it super difficult to paddle. We'll go tow as well. But like for me, I'd always be paddle as much as possible. Like if it's at all paddleable, I'd rather try paddle than try tow. Towing's sick, and like yeah, you catch a million waves a session and you get like 10 sick ones, but like that one mental one you get paddling is just it's a lot more rewarding. Like I don't know what it is, but it's just different. Like it, and yeah, paddling is my main focus on bigger days, I think.
Awesome. And is it that factor of you're doing it all yourself as the individual, and where does that power lie?
I suppose it is like there's just a lot more fear factor when you're going paddling. Like you're towing and put on a wave, and you don't really know how big it is. You don't know how it looks when it's coming in, and like it's that feeling that you get when that wave's standing up in front of you, whatever it is, 10, 15, 20 foot standing up, and you have to have that decision to like turn around and go. And then when you do it and then make it out the end, I guess it's just that sense of relief of surviving, the happiness of surviving, and all that comes into one, and like the fear and everything, and it all just combines into just yeah, ultimate happiness, I suppose.
So paddling in stands as the most respectable thing that a big wave surfer can do. Let me ask you this. So there was, I think, some recent controversy with a Guinness Book of World Records reading of a paddle-in wave, biggest paddle wave ever. Does when it is made, the drop is made, but there's a wipeout. Do you believe that as a premier big wave surfer, do you believe that is a counts as the wave, or do you have to ride the wave out? Where do you stand on that subject?
I don't know. It's a tough one because obviously I've never been to like Nazarene stuff. It's not what I'm into. Like yeah, surfing, I big waves and whatever. Like I wouldn't really class myself as a big wave surfer. I just want to try and go get as big a barrel as I possibly can. Whereas like Nazare is like just riding the tallest wave possible, I suppose. Obviously people are trying to get barrels and stuff, but those big days it's just about riding the tallest thing possible. And it's not something that appeals to me that much, but so I don't know how to comment on it. Like obviously the guys who are
Yeah,
there are like, oh, he made it to the bottom, so that's like he made it to see how tall the whole wave was. So like it's a hard one. Like, is it when you get to the bottom? Is it when you fully ride out the back? And like a lot of the time at Nazareth, they'll be riding out the back of the wave sideways, like out the corner, and then fall. So is that made? Is that not made? I don't know because I've never been out there. Like,
so this is a very, very deep philosophical point you're raising, and it's like the Mullaghmore wave might not be as tall, but it's square, which makes it more gnarly and more aesthetically beautiful, also from a side angle, than say a Nazare wave that might be taller but is kind of like crumbling at the top. So, how do you speak to that?
I guess, yeah. To me, to me, there's a lot more risk for less reward. And that's just my personal opinion. Like obviously the guys that are there, the reward is mental for them. But like the risk of falling on one of those waves and drowning to just surf down like the biggest mountain ever, I don't know, it's just not something that interests me that much. And maybe if I went and tried it, it would be something I'd get that feeling and love it. But I guess for me there's not more spectacular than getting spat out of a massive barrel. Like, and yeah, the risk versus reward thing at Molly is there for me. I'm happy to go get that massive barrel and try it. But yeah, Nazareth is just it's never appealed to me. But maybe one day I'll go down and give it a go, and never know, I might end up loving it.
Sick. So is Mullaghmore the best slab in the world, or is there one out there that you've seen a picture of that you're like, oh, that might be better?
I guess there's those videos you see of like cloud break when it was massive. Like those ones are pretty crazy. But like for me, of everything I've seen or been or surfed, Molly to me is like the best wave in the world. But for sure, it's going to be other people are going to have different opinions of where they've scored and where they haven't. So yeah, but that's just my opinion of the days I've seen out there. But yeah, those old videos of cloud break huge are pretty next level too.
Yeah, and I think you're referring to that one where Slater commentates. It's like the most epic cloud break ever. That's some insane footage. Last question, and thank you so much for your time today and your willingness to speak to us. I know so many people are gonna just get so much out of this conversation. Garage, what's the meaning of life?
Meaning of life. Oh, it's a hard one. I guess for me, it's having fun. Like I just like as long as I'm having fun and enjoying life, that's it. Like I see a lot of stuff and like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna like work as hard as I can now so I can enjoy my life later in life. But like for me, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna try and enjoy life my whole time and just keep it fun the whole time. And I've been lucky enough that I've been able to do that. And yeah, that's the meaning of life for me is just enjoying it and keeping it as fun and loose as possible.
Stick, man. And you're having a snow day. Thank you again for joining us on your snow day. And what's up next for you this evening? I know the sun's setting. What's for dinner?
It's pretty dark. Yeah, it gets dark early here. It's dark for the last 2 or 3 hours, I think. But don't know. I think my girlfriend's cooking up some dinner outside, and we'll see. Hopefully, she's cooked up something good, and yeah, just kind of chill out for the evening, and hopefully get some waves the next couple of days. And yeah, that's kind of it. Just yeah, might be a swell coming soon. So hopefully there's a big swell soon too.
Epic. Well, we can't wait to see you out there. We can't wait to follow your new clips coming out, and good luck with the Olympics coming up. That's going to be really cool.
Epic. Yeah. Cheers. Should be good fun. Thank you.
Gearoid McDaid, thank you very much for joining us on episode 34, Speaking from Water. That is it, folks. Be sure to follow and have a great evening. Peace. Thank you, bro, again, so much. You're a legend.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Thank you. Thanks for having us. And yeah, sorry, I've a nightmare to deal with.
No, dude, no. And I hope my questions weren't too like existential, but I'm really trying to bring the people. Yeah, I'm trying to bring the people to your mindset because it's phenomenal.
Epic. Thank you. Cheers. And yeah, hopefully I'll get over your side someday. The next year
dude. Hey, you talk about Jersey. Look at the Outer Banks. That's north of where I am, and man, they go just as slabby because it sticks way far out if you look at the map, and it's seen. Like Jersey is high rises and it's a lot of city. Outer Banks is like country, desolate.
Yeah.
Check it out.
That's that for sure. I need to get over there. Luck's sick. And you should let us know if you ever make it over this side in Ireland later.
Oh, bro, my name's Sean, and Druin is my middle name. So Irish lives deep in me. Like we're only 2 generations over here, and I go back, to the olden days. So we're blood, bro.
Sick, epic.
and tell your girlfriend thanks for the follow back, Sarah. Right?
Yeah. That's her. She's out there cooking dinner.
Smells good. Yeah. Great. Well, y'all get to it. Thanks again for your time, and good luck with the swell coming up.
Epic. Cheers. We'll talk to you soon.
See you.